discussion. Eric Berger, Liftoff. It's the story of SpaceX, the early days of SpaceX. I don't think I can overemphasize how great this book is. It's impossible. So I'm just going to say this is an amazing book. It's not a book that's going to go into a principle stack. Don't get me wrong. This is not a philosophical principle book. This is a piece of journalism. It's chronicling the early days of a significant company, and that's why we believe it's such an important book. This is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's March 19th, 2021. This is Krim Delco. For the day, the fund is up 1.68%. The market's down 6 basis points. For the year, we're down 4.66%. The market's up 4.12%. We are underperforming by 8.78%. Let's just jump right into it. This is a book about the early days of SpaceX. Berger is a journalist. He covers space. He's pretty entrenched in the business, not just SpaceX, but all the other space companies. This is a chronicle. It's a story. It's a good story. It's well written. It's interesting. There's drama. There's no sex and rock and roll, but there's drama. There is failures. There is the need to move within days from California to the South Pacific to do a launch. The weather plays havoc. There's an almost crash landing of an airplane. There's a lot of things going on. So this is not just a boring chronicle. This is a very interesting chronicle, but nevertheless, it's a chronicle. So if you want to learn from this book, you have to read between the lines. This is, I think, what good journalism really does. It doesn't tell you what to learn. It just lets you read. Or in general, good writing is really about just telling the story and then inspiring your thoughts. So three big takeaways for myself and for the fund, for Orange Capital Partners. The purpose of this podcast is to give people a sense for what it feels like to run a hedge fund. And many times I've said reading it's not just a necessary ingredient for any hedge fund manager. It's almost, this is the business. If you had to boil down what the actual activity is that really helps you make money, I would say it's reading. It's not meetings, it's not conversations, it's not experiences, it's reading. Because all the other things, they always plug into your reading, into your memory of what you read, what you know, your knowledge, your dots that you connected in your brain. And then if you go somewhere, experience things, you experience it through your knowledge. To use David Deutsch, resources are dependent on your knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the more resources you have by definition. And reading is kind of like mining for resources, and then going out in the world is actually finding those resources. So back to the book, 3 takeaways. I think number 1, Elon Musk is living in a reality distortion field, which number 2 is inspiring his engineers. And number 3, speed is the key advantage of Elon Musk, because speed and iteration are the same thing with 2 different sides of the coin. And that, in my opinion, is the key advantage. So if I take now just a quick detour to the current situation with Tesla and Volkswagen, and also Tesla and other companies such as, let's say, the Chinese innovators on the electric car side, the difference is speed and to some extent reality distortion. Those are the 2 things that still distinguish and will distinguish Tesla for a long time from other competitors. Now let me unpack these. The reality distortion field simply means that Elon Musk lives in a different reality. He strongly believes in it and he acts like it. Example, when Falcon 1 was launched, the first rocket, there was always space made for a parachute to bring the booster back, even though Falcon 1 never had a chance to come back. The reason for that is Elon Musk already in his mind, he made up his mind that there will be one day a relaunchable booster. And maybe just in parentheses, when you launch rockets, in the old times, you would just throw away that first rocket, which is the booster, you just throw it away because you couldn't reuse it, because coming back through the atmosphere on Earth was too difficult and it just would destroy the rocket. Elon Musk said at the outset of starting SpaceX, the way to succeed is to lower cost of launch and to lower the cost of launch is to make rockets reusable. So this was the absolute core ingredient of his mission. And he absolutely believed in it, and he made it happen. Others probably didn't even want to think about it, particularly in the first couple of years. They had troubles making a rocket which actually goes up and brings something to orbit. Forget about reusing the rocket. So typical engineers, good engineers, they are really focused on the moment. They just think about how to solve the problem right now. Musk is a very good problem solver, and he has that reality distortion field very similar to Steve Jobs. The same thing with Mars. Most people maybe now slowly start believing in Mars. Musk, I think, started SpaceX to go to Mars. For him, this was a foregone conclusion. I want to just take one more example from Tesla, which I think illustrates the reality distortion field. In Musk's eyes, driving a car is already obsolete. You shouldn't be driving a car. The only reason you're driving a car is because, number one, tech is still not good enough, but number two, it's the regulators, it's the circumstances, so you have to drive a car, unfortunately. But actually, you shouldn't be driving a car. So he's already thinking about how to entertain and how to make you productive. Productivity and entertainment will be the key drivers of business value for any kind of so-called mobility company, whatever that may be, a car company, a rideshare company, or something. Who knows what in 10 years, you see, because driving will be done by robots. So a little bit like if you ever go to Manhattan or Hong Kong in one of those super high towers and you ride up the elevator, you will see that they have TVs and things like that. Why? Because you're sitting there for 20, 30 seconds sometimes. So they show you something, maybe even advertising, whatever. The point is, I believe when Otis developed the elevator, this wasn't on his mind, how to entertain people. And he was like, oh my gosh, I can bring somebody from below all the way up. This is amazing. And Musk is like that. He's already thinking about a problem that most people don't even see. This is the reality distortion field. It's not lying, to be clear. A lot of shorts, a lot of people in the market always accuse Musk of being a bullshitter, of a liar. What he really is a reality distortion field manager. So he brings himself into a reality which today, with given technology, is not possible, but there is a trajectory. If you want, there is a linear combination of existing vectors today that is foreseeable, and maybe there are some bumps and some linear, non-linear step functions you need to pursue to really get there, but fundamentally you will get there. And most engineers, again, they don't see that, but that's fine. That's not their job. It is his job to see that, and to some extent our job as investors to see that reality distortion field and to believe in it or not believe in it. If we don't want to invest, that's fine. So reality distortion field, very important, number one. Number two, related to that, it inspires his engineers. The reason these people are ready to work so hard is because they slowly but surely kind of get sucked into it. Without the reality distortion field, people would never really know what they're working for. The purpose would not be clear. So every success, it would be a little bit like successes would lose their appeal. It's a bit like a drug. The adrenaline would, first time you do a launch, it's great. The second time, the third time, so what? And so on and so forth. But with SpaceX, because the mission is to go to Mars, all these successes until we get to Mars will be huge successes because they're all steps to this massive success. And that, therefore, the reality distortion field is not just some journalist's, title, bullshit, something. It is a real management tool. The problem is it's not really a tool. It's you either have it or you don't have it. You are the person that can transpire it or not. You can't just choose. Again, to use the example of Volkswagen, Mr. Herbert Diess, CEO of Volkswagen, he can try to reality distort as much as he wants. He's not that type. He's not that kind of manager. So for boards that are looking for people to compete with Tesla, better look for somebody with a reality distortion field. Actually, Jeff Bezos is that kind of guy. He has been able to do it with his company, Amazon. He's not able to do it with Blue Origin, and I don't know why. And the book doesn't really talk about this either. Now, number three, speed and iteration. Speed. There is a line in the book where Eric Berger talks about Elon Musk. In the early days of SpaceX, he says, there are people, they want to build very good rockets. There are other people that try to do low-cost rockets, and then there's the speed. Most of companies can maybe do 2 out of 3. Actually, mostly only one. Either you make very high-end rockets like Boeing and Lockheed and Northrop and all these defense manufacturers. They're able to make very high-end equipment, but it takes forever and it's very expensive. There are companies with low-cost equipment. I don't know exactly which ones, but you can make things cheap, but then it's not very good. And you can do fast things. Particularly Chinese manufacturers are known for being fast, but not very good either, and maybe cheap. Also, they might be able to do 2 out of 3. What Musk can do is all the 3, and this is the most important takeaway of the book as far as investing in Tesla is concerned. Let me rephrase that. The factor of speed and iteration, fast iteration, and the ability of Elon Musk to do fast iteration, lower cost, and create quality products. This combination is lethal for any kind of competition. This is the fundamental reason why Tesla is succeeding and will continue succeeding, why SpaceX is succeeding, and probably the other companies also will succeed, Neuralink and the Boring Company. It is high quality, low cost, and speed. This is the trifecta of forces that are driving Elon Musk companies. He's able to do it. We can unpack why he's able to do it. For example, high quality. Well, he has high goals. You can only go to Mars with high quality rockets. You can only win in the marketplace with high quality cars. You can't sell bad cars. Low cost, that's related to iteration. That is part of the innovation stack building. That is part of our, of course, our principal stack. The only way you can lower cost is by continuously iterate rapidly. Try, fail, try, fail, try, fail, try, fail, try, fail. Fix, fix, try, fail, fix, fix. Learn, learn, fix, learn, fix. There's no other way. That's how he made a reusable rocket, by iteration. That's what he's doing with Boca Chica, the Starship. Blow it up, try again, blow it up, try again. Learn, learn, try again. Simulating the reality is not fast enough, and it's not good enough. It takes way too long. Do it. You have to do it. Building AI, building the self-driving technology is going to work because it's actually being done in real time with real customers, with real drivers. There's no shortcuts. There's no approximations. There's no modeling. There's nothing. I mean, there's that also, that you can do modeling, but it cannot be the only thing you do. There has to be real application in real time and learnings. It's like everything in life. If I explain to you how to surf, you will never be able to surf unless you do it. If I explain to you how to love, if I explain to you how to, God knows, how to raise a child, how to be a father, I mean, you can't explain these things. You can only experience them. That's how we learn as humans. That's how machines learn. That's how we program our machines to learn. So the 3 big takeaways of the book: reality distortion field, which is inspiring people to work, and speed and iteration. Those are the 3 big takeaways. I think Eric Berger did a phenomenal job. And now I want to make the arc back to Tesla, because this is really about our largest position, Tesla. We are not invested in SpaceX. I think this applies extremely well to Tesla. All these things are, Elon Musk is not 2 people. He's one person running 2 companies. And he's running Tesla the same way, relentlessly driving iteration, fast iteration. He's driving his people hard. He's had lots of churn because of that. The same in SpaceX. He has a very lofty goal, which is inspiring people to work for him. And the reality distortion field in Tesla is that we have a driving robot that will drive us around, and we have to solve the problem of entertainment and productivity. Those are the 2 vectors that Musk is already thinking about now, even though he hasn't even solved the AI problem yet, but he's already thinking ahead. And this is the reality distortion field, which is inspiring. It's also difficult. It's difficult for Musk, it's difficult for us investors, and it's difficult for employees. But you're on this boat, you're on this journey, you're gonna go, and this is the way it's gonna be. It's fast, speed, iteration. Those are the things, speed and iteration. And that is the one thing that I think people like Volkswagen, even the Chinese competitors, will not be able to match. Thank you.